Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 3741. Today's date is December 4, 2025. It's been almost like morning at 9:01 a.m. Alright, let's just jump into the question. Let's go. Alright, the question is, what if color had a taste? Oh, that's a really good, interesting question. Alright, yeah, first of all, what is at least this question and why am I asking this question to myself? This is what if question. Why am I asking this question to myself? What if question is always really interested way to give the answer. It kind of like force you to think about that reality. And when I try to think about that reality, when I try to create that reality, I'm kind of like simply utilizing my knowledge and information that I've been through and try to explain what is exactly is this thing, what is exactly like, yeah. And somehow when I try to create it, just I don't know, it felt good probably. Yeah. Um Disclaimer, the information that I'm trying to tell you is not exactly right or is not exactly wrong either. It's raw, it's unfiltered. So do not believe in any kind of like information that I'm saying, or do not seek for any kind of information that I'm saying. It's just my opinion, and opinion are subjective. Alright, yeah. Now regarding about the question says, what if color had a test? Okay, so basically if I try to understand this question, there is a kind of like assembly. Let's just understand. Okay, yeah. First of all, is that we all are human. Okay, yeah. And basically is this thing that most of the color are associated with a kind of like a some certain thing that we already everyday seen. Okay, yeah. And somehow we might gonna assume that what would be the test of the color, but still we cannot test the color because color doesn't really have test. Okay, yeah. Why not color doesn't really have test? Because okay, yeah. So I'm actually holding this mobile phone which is black. So should I lick him? Like, okay, let's just lick the phone. By the way, phone should supposed to be very dirty. Okay, yeah. Because like basically so many bacteria and things are actually associated on the phone. So probably I'm not gonna click my phone. Okay, I'm gonna lick my hand. Okay, yeah. So basically my color of my hand is brown. Okay, yeah. So should I lick it? Okay, let's lick it. Yeah. What is early test like? It's so very weird to lick your hand like that. It doesn't have any taste. Like it just nothing really at all. So stupid. Okay, yeah. So basically it's this thing that taste doesn't really have any, sorry, color doesn't really have any taste. Okay, yeah. But it's not associate with everything. Okay, yeah. Let me give you is this thing. Let's just say a strawberry cake. Okay, yeah. Now strawberry cake look like a little bit kind of like a something is a pink and red. Okay, yeah, somewhat something. So if you taste it, it kind of like a taste like a strawberry. Okay, yeah. But if you kind of like simply lick the strawberry, then you might not get taste anything at all, because I don't know, when you lick the any kind of like a taste that you get, I don't know, you might. It's a very weird to kind of like simply lick somebody to kind of like simply what is actually your taste. Just imagine the particular world that you are kind of like a seeing some sort of guy who is kind of like a look really fair. So come here, let me taste you. And you are kind of like a licking him on his face. Like a dog. Shit. Very not good stuff. Okay. So that's why we cannot. So okay, now let me give you another perspective that's even more wilder. Look at your potty. Sometimes it look yellow, sometimes it look orange, sometimes it look brown. Would you taste that? Oh my god. Gee, I would not gonna do that. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that the color doesn't really have taste. Okay, yeah. But we usually associate color with kind of like a simply what we've been through and what we kind of like a something what we kind of like experience through. Okay, yeah. Okay, there is a multiple color. Let's just take a kind of like a couple of color that might gonna associate with something. Okay, yeah. Red. Okay, yeah. So what do you think that what would be the color of the what would be the taste of red color? um Kind of like a something the hot, spicy, and hot, spicy. Yeah, why would you think that red would have kind of like hot and spicy? Because the food that we are actually eating, okay, yeah, and usually red food means like red meat or kind of like a something. I belong to the India, and usually we have mutton and chicken. These are kind of like a something also in red color. So red color are kind of like a spicy and hot and things like that. Okay, yeah. So that's why it's just like we usually associate that hot and spicy to the red color. Okay, yeah. Now what about yellow? Yellow, what kind of like a things that I kind of like a seeing? Okay, what would be the taste of yellow color? Uh Not good. Okay, yeah. But still is this thing that ki yellow usually, like I don't know, when I kind of like think about food and yellow, there is only one thing that came out is a McDonald's. That's it. Okay, yeah. But still is this thing, what would be kind of like a represent as a yellow color? um something that kind of like a simply, I don't know, McDonald's. Probably. Okay, I'm not really sure what kind of like a simply should I supposed to say like yellow color. What is actually the color of yellow that I eat? Maybe kind of like a simply yellow. What is actually yellow berries? No, yellow Shimla mirchi. No, I don't know, yaar. I don't really have any kind of like a test. Like I don't know what is like if you kind of like eat something yellow, then probably like besides eating shit. Okay, yeah, these are also yellow too, but don't eat that stuff. Okay, yeah, but still is this thing. I don't know how it should supposed to be represent yellow as a test and things. I don't know because I haven't really consumed that many yellow things. So yeah, green. Okay, yeah. So what would be the kind of like a taste of green color? A fresh, kind of like a something a fresh or kind of like a herbal. Okay, yeah. Why do you think that? Because like look at around yourself, like the spinach, the palak. Okay, yeah. The methi chi bhaji, shepu chi bhaji. I'm not really sure what is the English word for that. Okay, sambar. Okay, yeah. Then these are kind of like some green stuff that we usually eat. Okay, yeah. Some sort of kind of like herbal or kind of like a some sort of things that keep like yeah, usually is this in green are usually associated with the kind of like a somebody nature and things like that. Okay, and what would be that taste? uh Taste, it's not, I don't know how it should supposed to be taste like a basically is this thing, it's not sweet, it's not, it's a kind of like a somewhat something sour, but something, I don't know how do I supposed to explain. It's a very little bit herbal probably. Okay, yeah, that would be the taste of the green. Okay, yeah. Blue. Okay, what would be the kind of like a taste of blue? There is only one thing that I kind of like pop in my head is that cold. Okay, yeah, because blue represent cold. Okay, yeah, so it is cold, probably cold and cold. Yeah, usually is this thing I'm kind of like thinking about as a cold, and yeah, that's it. I don't really think seeing as a kind of like a somebody test, but I usually represent as a kind of like a somebody um, cold associated with the blue color. Yeah. What about black? Black usually represent like a coffee or tea. Okay, yeah. Like usually we drink tea. Okay, yeah. Tea somewhat something look blacks too. Okay, yeah. Coffee, it is also kind of like a somewhat something looks black too. It's somewhat something brown. Okay, yeah, because I'm belong to the India. Usually the tea is little bit brown. Okay, yeah, but we usually consume black tea too. Okay, yeah, black tea means without milk, which is also kind of like a little bit black with somewhat something kind of like a bitter probably taste. But yeah, this would be a taste of the black. What about white color? What do you think that what would be the taste of white color? Um White color is usually represented as a purity. Okay, yeah. Like basically it represent kind of like a pure thing. Okay, yeah, white. But milk and egg are mostly associated with the white color. Yeah, somewhat something. So these are kind of like some sort of color that I might think that it has that particular taste, but still color doesn't really have any taste. Whatever. This kind of like some thought process kind of like very weird, but still it's good. All right, this is it. I will not gonna talk more than that. I have a lot of work to do, and thank you.